Chairman.
Thank you for your time. Sir, we'll stay with you. I just got a couple of questions, if you don't mind. How many employees right now work for you?
A little over 3,500.
3,500, and what do you feel like the need is?
I think we need to be at least at 3,700. You know, GAO used to be over 5,000 people. There was downsizing in the 1990s. And
we also didn't have the same technology we have today.
Yeah, no, that's true, but the government was a lot smaller then, too, than it is now.
And you have a request of how much increase? 122 million?
That's correct.
And what's your total budget?
Total budget right now is $811 million, almost 812.
So you're going to be approaching $1 billion.
That's correct.
That's correct?
Right.
At the same time, we're trying to shrink the federal government, and we're trying to use efficiencies. I mean, one of the things we try to do is be more efficient. What type of technology are you using to try to offset this? And I use this from the, let's just use real world, right? Our payables and receivables office doesn't have near as many people in it as it used to. Mm-hmm. Our payroll department doesn't have near as many people in it as it used to. Because of the new technology that's available to us.
Right.
And I would say most of the research and accounting offices around the country have shrunk considerably. So what type of technology have you changed to be able to absorb that, to be able to help your efficiencies? Because we're cutting all across the government. So it's hard for us to justify $122 million increase, which is roughly 15% for GAO.
Right. Well, I think the first justification from our request comes from the fact that we returned to the government $123 back for every dollar invested. Now,
how many people in your office do you have that specifically, because I've heard you quote that now 3 times, work on that specific issue to tell us how much money you spend, you return back to us?
Well, we actually use estimates from CBO and the Congress. We use third-party estimates.
But how many people do you have in your staff that's designated just to provide that number to us?
Every team does it based upon their own audit work. It's not any central group that does it. They compile it. There's maybe one person there that compiles the numbers as part of a lot of other responsibilities. But it's everybody in GAO's job is to try to be more.
I do hear what you're saying. The issue that we're having here is that we're not going to be able to increase it, and so we've got to get more efficient, and that goes for every agency. We've got to get more efficient, and we're asking the executive branch to be more efficient. The executive branch is becoming more efficient. We have to do the same.
Yeah. One thing that this committee could do to help us in our efficiency is to have the agencies that we audit provide the information more quickly and reliably to us, and because we can then do work a lot faster if the agencies are cooperative.
Sure. Mr. Halpern, can you explain to us what you're doing to become more efficient with the taxpayer dollars as funding?
Sure. So we're trying to automate processes where we can. Some of our requirements are that we support older processes. So for instance, as I was explaining to Senator Heinrich, if you write a bill on a legal pad, I have to be able to take that and turn that into good legislative text. That requires people to do it. We are getting more efficient when it comes to the actual printing. So for instance, we've changed from offset printing for our daily publications to digital inkjet printing, which means I have much smaller crews manning those printing presses.
Now, you mentioned multiple times in your statement that you operate as a business.
We do.
And you have customers.
We do.
On those customers, are they competitive bids, or are you kind of assumed the one and only supplier for the needs for printing?
It depends. So, for instance, the U.S. passport, our single largest product, we have one customer. That's the Department of State.
But I mean, you're not bidding against outside private groups to do this.
We are not, because the security requirements for that document are such.
And I say that because you operate like a business, but yet you have an appropriation request plus an increase on it. What keeps you from just adjusting your prices to actually cover your costs? Because if you're operating as a business, then you should have the ability to adjust your costs to be able to make sure it's not costing the taxpayers any extra funding other than to the agency.
The appropriations request covers three things. It covers Congress's own printing needs. Congress decided that it is easier to appropriate those dollars to us directly than to have us bill them per page. So that's $83 million of that request.
Because I'm over time, I'll come back. I want to be respectful of my time, just like everybody else's. I'll turn the question over to Senator Murray.